Michael, sorry to bother you. Would you mind having a word with some students? They're guests of mine here in Berlin.
Yes, of course.
This is the famous Michael Burke, defender of the poor.
And the rich and the poor, a judicious mix of both. How do you do?
I thought you might like to meet these young people. They're from Heidelberg.
Ah.
Do you know Heidelberg?
Yes. Almost 30 years ago, I was at Heidelberg Law School for a short period myself.
Those of you for the special seminar group, please stay on in this room. Professor Rohr will be here in a moment.
I need to correct an impression. Dieter said yesterday this was about justice, but is it? If it were about justice, you might ask, why has it taken so long? The war ended 20 years ago. Remember, there have been no significant trials between Nuremberg in 1946 and the Auschwitz trials a couple of years ago. That's a long gap. What's the reason for the gap?
I'd have thought it was obvious.
Say.
Cowardice. It's cowardice, isn't it? It's bad conscience. It's the big cover-up.
Go on.
After the war, the German people didn't want to look at what they'd done.
Is that right?
Because they had too much to hide. All our parents are liars. All right, mine are. So it's left to us, isn't it?
How so?
Because we're not implicated.
Aren't you? Good. So that's all right then.
No, but seriously, Dieter's right. My parents, I can't even talk to them. I don't love them. How could I? How could anyone love them? They've told themselves so many lies they can't remember the truth, let alone admit it. Isn't that why we signed up for the seminar?
Oh, I don't know. You tell me.
Speaking for myself.
Michael?
I'm not sure anymore.
What did your father do, Dieter?
If you want to know, he was in the Waffen-SS. And that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. So were a million other Germans.
Yes, you're right. That's exactly my point. That's why it's better not to pretend this is about justice. Forgive me, nor is it about getting into an emotional state. It has no purpose if it's just the young giving their parents a bad time.
So what is it about? What do you think?
Societies think they operate by something called morality, but they don't. They operate by something called law. You're not guilty of anything merely by working at Auschwitz. 8,000 people worked at Auschwitz. Precisely 19 have been convicted and only 6 for murder. To prove murder, you have to prove intent. That's the law. Remember, the question is never, was it wrong, but was it legal? And not by our laws. No, by the laws at the time.
But isn't that
What?
narrow?
Oh, yes, the law is narrow. On the other hand, I suspect people who kill other people tend to be aware that it's wrong.
Well, nothing we say is ever going to please him.
We're not here to please him, are we?
Why did you say that?
Because he said on under the Nazis. Everyone knows that. He said on in 33. He went on teaching for another 5 years.
You should have left earlier. He knows he did the wrong thing. He hates himself.